Greetings, I'm Sean. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm chatting about the Mars-Pluto opposition which we have on the 27th of April. I try to make my videos as positive as possible. Why see the glass half empty? But this opposition is not easy. Energies are clashing. So my aim in making the video is to help you navigate the safest path during this period. This energy is fiery, fixed, and deeply personal, especially for those with placements near 0 degrees to 4 degrees of Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or Scorpio. You guys will feel this opposition the most. Please scroll down for your sun, moon, and most accurate rising sign. Also check your Mars placement if you know it. So let me break down this transit, which we will feel for about a week or so. Mars is the planet of drive, desire, courage, and raw willpower. It rules Aries and co-rules Scorpio, giving it a natural link to action and passion, both in battle and in bed. Mars charges forward, seeks conquest, and thrives on challenge. When Mars is in Leo, as it is during this opposition, it's particularly bold, creative, proud, and ready to fight for recognition and love. Mars energy is, I want it now. It acts first, thinks later. So when Mars is involved in a tense aspect like an opposition, the instinct is to react, sometimes explosively. Pluto is the planet of transformation, power, the underworld, and regeneration. It doesn't shout like Mars. Instead, Pluto simmers beneath the surface. It exposes secrets, breaks down what's rotten, and forces us to evolve through death and rebirth. Pluto in Aquarius deals with collective power, innovation, rebellion, and the evolution of humanity. When Pluto is active, expect deep emotional material to rise, especially around control, manipulation, obsessions, or fears. So just a few words about what an opposition is. An opposition occurs when two planets are directly across from one another, 180 degrees apart. This creates tension and polarity, like a cosmic game of tug-of-war. Each planet pulls in its own direction, and we're forced to find the middle ground or risk being yanked into chaos. This transit is one of the most combustible aspects in astrology, with Mars pushing forward and Pluto pushing back, neither willing to surrender. This intense standoff can stir up power struggles in relationships or at work, expose hidden agendas, ignite jealousy, control issues, or obsession, and lead to confrontations that trigger deep transformation. There's also the risk of sexual manipulation, emotional eruptions, or physical burnout from pushing too hard. But it's not all doom and gloom. This opposition also opens a powerful portal for personal empowerment. If you're willing to face your shadow, you can transform it, reclaim your will, and emerge stronger, bolder, and more aligned with your inner fire. Lancing a boil can be painful, but we tend to be better for it. Let's look at all signs. Why? Because this will tell you where to be careful in your life. Hi Aries. For Aries rising, the Mars-Pluto opposition activates a tug-of-war between your 5th house of passion, creativity, and romance, and your 11th house of friendships, communities, and future goals. On one side, Mars is urging you to express yourself boldly, whether through art, love, or playful spontaneity. You want to shine, flirt, create, and follow your joy. But Pluto in your 11th house brings intensity and power dynamics into your social circles, perhaps making you feel stifled by group expectations, online peer pressure, or even jealousy among friends. The clash? Your personal passions may be overshadowed by collective demands, or you might feel the need to tone yourself down just to fit in. The warning here is to avoid comparing yourself to others, especially on social media or in team environments. It could lead to ego flare-ups or creative burnout. Instead, find the sweet spot where your uniqueness uplifts the group without compromising your light. This is a powerful opportunity to redefine your role in the collective without giving up what makes you you. Your mantra: I shine my truth while honoring the collective. Hi Taurus. For you Taurus, the Mars-Pluto opposition spotlights the delicate balance between your 4th house of home, family, and emotional roots, and your 10th house of career, reputation, and public life. Mars stirs up heat and action in your private world. You may feel a strong urge to protect your space, defend family, or finally tackle something on the home front. But across the sky, Pluto is intensifying your ambitions, transforming how you show up in the world. You might feel torn between tending to your personal foundation and chasing success or recognition. The tension here lies in trying to be everything to everyone, nurturing and supportive at home, while powerful and in control out in the world. Warning: be mindful of letting work pressures cause conflict at home, or conversely, of avoiding your true ambitions for fear of shaking the family tree. Trying to dominate either domain could lead to burnout or power struggles. The invitation is to rebuild your inner world so that your outer success feels authentic and supported. Your mantra: my inner peace fuels my outer success. Hi, Gemini. For Gemini Rising, this Mars-Pluto opposition activates your third house of communication, learning, and local interactions, and your ninth house of beliefs, wisdom, and long-distance pursuits. Mars is charging up your day-to-day mind. You're quick-thinking, sharp-tongued, and ready to speak your truth. But Pluto in the ninth house is stirring something deeper: philosophical tension, ideological shifts, or intense questioning of long-held beliefs. You may find yourself caught between casual chats and deep existential debates, or between familiar thought patterns and bold new perspectives that challenge your worldview. Warning: this is a volatile setup for arguments, especially about politics, religion, or moral values. Resist the urge to bulldoze others with your truth, or get defensive when someone questions your views. Your words carry extra power now, so use them with care and curiosity. There's great potential here to bridge the gap between intellect and wisdom, but only if you're open to dialogue instead of battle. Your mantra: my voice is powerful because it's open-minded. Hi, Cancer. For Cancer, the Mars-Pluto opposition draws a potent line between your second house of money, values, and self-worth, and your eighth house of shared resources, intimacy, and transformation. Mars is activating your need for financial independence and self-reliance. You're driven to earn, save, or assert your worth. Meanwhile, Pluto in the eighth house is stirring up deeper power dynamics around shared finances, emotional bonds, or long-held fears. This could manifest as tension in relationships involving money, trust, or control, anything from loan negotiations to intimacy battles. Warning: watch out for jealousy, possessiveness, or fear-based decisions when it comes to money or emotional security. This opposition may trigger a desire to hold tight or dominate a situation out of insecurity. Instead, use this moment to reclaim your inner strength and financial sovereignty, not through control, but through clarity and empowered choices. Your mantra: my value is not up for negotiation. Hi, Leo. For Leo, this Mars-Pluto opposition hits home in the most personal way, lighting up your first house of identity, action, and self-expression, Mars, and your seventh house of relationships, contracts, and committed partnerships, Pluto. Mars in your sign gives you the drive to lead, assert yourself, and step boldly into the spotlight. But Pluto in the 7th of May bring power struggles, manipulation, or deep transformation through your relationships. You're being asked to stand in your truth without overpowering others or being overpowered in return. Warning: this is a classic me versus we battle. You could feel torn between honoring your needs and maintaining harmony in a key relationship. Avoid ultimatums or ego wars. Instead, seek conscious compromise. If something is unbalanced in your partnerships, this transit will expose it, but it also gives you the courage to address it head-on. Your mantra: I lead with strength and grace. For you, Virgo, the Mars-Pluto opposition draws attention to your 12th house of the subconscious, solitude, and spiritual healing, Mars, and your 6th house of work, health, and daily routines, Pluto. Mars in the 12th house may stir up hidden frustrations, old anger, or buried energy. It's like your inner warrior wants to break free from a locked room. At the same time, Pluto in your 6th house is intensifying your daily life, your job, your physical health, or your relationship with control over the little things. You may feel overwhelmed by responsibilities while trying to manage an internal emotional storm. Warning: repressed emotions could manifest physically or lead to burnout if you're not careful. This is a time to pay close attention to mental, emotional, and physical warning signs. Don't power through. Rest is not weakness. You're being asked to cleanse old patterns and reprogram your internal systems, not just survive the grind. Your mantra: I heal by honoring my hidden truth. For you, Libra, this cosmic standoff activates your 11th house of friendships, alliances, and future dreams, Mars, and your 5th house of romance, creativity, and personal joy, Pluto. Mars energizes your social scene. You're fired up about collaborations, team projects, or your role in a community. But Pluto is digging deep in your 5th house, stirring intense emotions in matters of love, self-expression, or children. This opposition may reveal a conflict between what the group wants from you versus what your heart desires. Warning: watch for jealousy in love triangles, rivalry in friend groups, or a feeling of being creatively stifled by peer pressure. You might feel the urge to perform for approval. Don't. This is your moment to stand in your authentic joy, even if others don't get it. Real allies will cheer your glow up. Your mantra: I bring passion into all my collaborations. For you, Scorpio, this powerful transit highlights a deep push-pull between your 10th house of career, authority, and public life, Mars, and your 4th house of home, roots, and emotional foundation, Pluto. Mars has you laser-focused on success. You're driven to achieve, lead, and claim your place in the world. But Pluto is stirring profound emotional shifts behind the scenes, possibly related to family, past trauma, or where you truly feel safe. You may feel like your external world is demanding strength, while your inner world is asking for deep reflection and healing. Warning: be careful not to bury your emotional needs beneath ambition. Power struggles with a parent, boss, or partner could erupt if old wounds go unacknowledged. This is your opportunity to build a career or legacy that's aligned with emotional truth, not just status. Your mantra: my legacy is built on emotional truth. For you, Sagittarius, this opposition stretches between your 9th house of travel, philosophy, higher education, and belief systems, Mars, and your 3rd house of communication, learning, and your immediate environment, Pluto. Mars is calling you to chase big visions, maybe a course, a trip, or a bold life philosophy. But Pluto is challenging you to question your habitual thought patterns and how you express yourself day to day. It's a classic case of dream big, but stay grounded in the facts. So my warning for you: I think be mindful of coming across as dogmatic or self-righteous, especially in conversations with siblings, neighbors, or colleagues. Arguments could escalate quickly if you cling too tightly to your beliefs. The gift here is the power to transform how you communicate your truth, not by shouting louder, but by speaking from a place of deep awareness and integrity. Your mantra: my higher vision speaks clearly. For you, Capricorn, this Mars-Pluto showdown activates your 8th house of intimacy, shared resources, and psychological transformation, Mars, and your 2nd house of self-worth, money, and personal values, Pluto. Mars is firing up your desire for deeper emotional or sexual connection, or to take bold action around joint finances or debts. Meanwhile, Pluto in your 2nd house is excavating your core values and long-held beliefs about money and self-esteem. The tension, a need for shared power, could clash with a need for personal security. Warning: avoid power struggles in financial or emotional partnerships. There's a risk of acting from fear, trying to control situations, people, or outcomes to protect your sense of worth. But this is your chance to reclaim your value by releasing the need to control everything. Trust that what is truly yours will remain, even without force. Your mantra: I am safe in transformation. One last point: if you have a difficult boss, be super careful of not escalating any arguments during this period. This would be very unwise. For you, Aquarius, this opposition lands directly across the axis of self and other, your 7th house of committed partnerships, contracts, and long-term relationships, Mars, and your 1st house of identity, independence, and self-expression, Pluto. Mars is heating up relationship dynamics. You may feel driven to take action in love or business partnerships. But Pluto, freshly rooted in your sign, is urging a deep personal transformation. You're changing, evolving, becoming more powerful, and that might not sit well with people used to the old you. Warning: please watch for power struggles in close relationships, such as with business colleagues or family. Especially if you or the other party are clinging to outdated roles. You might feel pushed to assert your autonomy, or to give in and keep the peace. Neither extreme will serve you now. This is your chance to balance radical self-empowerment with meaningful connection. without losing yourself in the process. Your mantra: I evolve in and out of connection. For you, Pisces, this powerful transit stretches between your 6th house of daily routines, health and service, Mars, and your 12th house of the subconscious, rest and spiritual release, Pluto. Mars is energizing your schedule. You may feel fired up to take control of your work life, fitness or daily tasks, but Pluto is whispering from the shadows of your psyche, urging you to slow down, heal old emotional wounds, and confront hidden fears or burnout patterns. It's a battle between doing and being. Warning: if you push too hard or ignore the need for rest, your body might force you to stop. Don't dismiss signs of exhaustion, anxiety, or mental overload. This transit asks you to honor the link between physical health and emotional truth, creating space for both action and introspection. Your mantra: I align my habits with divine flow,